Afternoon all. Well, I'm going to kick things off today with a little something for all you comic fans. Tim Quinn has edited, illustrated and written for some of the most famous comics in the world. Everything from my personal favourite, Bunty, to Spider-Man. Now he's taking to the road with a tour telling us about his 40 years in comics.
A year ago, I was asked to do a book festival. That is, to go and give a talk about the last 40 years I've spent working in the UK and the US for these extraordinary companies. I often get kids coming up to me now and saying, so how'd you do it? How'd you get in? I'm very, very lucky. I just went off to New York, knocked on the door of Marvel Comics, said any work going, and I was hired as an editor. And before I knew it, I was editor of Spider-Man, the X-Men, Iron Man, all these characters who've since gone on to great fame and fortune in movies. The show is called AG, which is a comic book expression for when either something drops on your foot or you're screaming in rage at somebody. And basically it's the ups and downs of life as a comic book creator. But I also tell all about the history of comics, from the first cave wall drawings through the Victorian period when comics as we know them today were really created. Giving examples, showing examples of comic book work. So, for example, you will see a Spider-Man cover that was pulled at the last minute because the publisher said, you can't have that going out, it's too sexy. With a movie, you're dependent on the budget as to how it's going to look. With the comic books, you're only dependent on the imagination of the writer and the illustrator. So you can go 10 million miles further than any movie maker can.
Tim will also be hosting a workshop in the afternoon before his show at Sale Waterside Arts Centre, where you and I can learn how to bring our characters to life. Now, Chart Toppers Block Party are in town tonight for the second of two shows at Manchester Apollo. They insisted on talking to us, but who among your City Life team could be best suited for the job? Our very own Mr. Music, of course.
Must be pretty nice to be popular enough in a particular place to put on two massive concerts right after each other. Have you always had that kind of feeling from Manchester when you've played anyway? I know you've been here loads of times now.
Yeah, well, it's one of the great music cities of the UK. So,
yeah.
It's great that we're able to stay here and for a couple of nights, get a feel for the place.
Yeah.
Whenever we come through.
It's a particular, obviously, like Manchester does have quite a good reputation and stuff like that from music, usually connected to specific eras. Yeah. Is there anything specifically you guys associate with Manchester musically that you think is quite important?
Well, Joy Division for me, Stone Roses, I guess.
Yeah, Stone Roses probably got me into drumming originally.
Because I remember when I first really got into music, it was about 1991-ish.
Yeah.
And, obviously Manchester was really big then.
I think we're lucky insofar as our fans are really, they really like the band. We've never been the biggest band out of the kind of generation we came from by any means, and everyone has seen a dip in their record sales, but bands like ours have never really made a living from selling records anyway. It's all been playing live. So it's hard work touring all the time, but I think we're lucky now that we have a pretty good reputation when it comes to playing live, and we can always kind of rely on being able to come to places like the Manchester Apollo and sell out a night or two.
That's your lot for now. Join me again in breakfast tomorrow morning, or Steph, who'll have all your weekend listings tomorrow here, same time, same place. Bye for now.